Hi guys, last night we had a AMA with Gamerplex. Who are Gamerplex? If you're not too sure, you can go and have a look, Gamerplex.com. They are building a massive gamers library. So more based around things like indie games, things that are going to be fun to play, fun to build. They have 3 on the target at the moment. They've even got a 4th one with Phoenix. Plenty of gameplay to have a look. I get heavy with John about it. John's an Australian developer based in Perth, Western Australia, and there's some really fun stuff to have a look at. Very detailed guide, super awesome for not just Solana Australia, but Solana in general. If you don't see many platforms building for games, these guys are serious. They're here to have a bit of fun at the same time. We had a bit of a laugh last night, and I hope you guys enjoy. So chuck it on 1.5 times speed, watch the whole thing, show a bit of love, and have a look. They have socials and giveaways at the moment. You can actually earn spots and get the OG NFTs and game testing. You know, like some of the best fun I've had in the last 3 months is actually testing some of these games that are building out. As a 41-year-old gamer, I've been here since the birth of gaming, and a lot of this stuff is just super awesome. And getting to play test and then have a bit of fun. You might even see the old Barndog popping up behind vehicles and stuff at some stage. But hope you guys enjoy. Thank you, Mother, for the rabbits.
Gamerplex, we're building several games across an ecosystem of games, Kinland, Contention, Cyber Wars, and Phoenix. We can go into them more later. But what we're really trying to do is prove out that metaverse concept of a player can play one game and then take their NFTs across to other games. We're also building a community, a play-to-earn community around the games as well, and having multiplayer leaderboards where you can sort of compete in multiplayer games that we're building. We've got several demos out, and I can go into more detail. But yeah, that's basically what we're trying to achieve is build an exaverse, that we call it. Have a token that's shared across all the games, and then have NFTs that are shared across the games as well.
So it's a little bit different than it's kind of like a mixture of other protocols that are building at the moment, because I think of places like Solsary that are building, giving the developer kit tools. There's other multiple places that are building. I think Rumbleworlds are building a metaverse, and they're kind of trying to get inbuilt kits into this. But you guys are trying to actually bring in people that are developing their own games as well under the banner of Gamerplex. Is that right?
Yeah, so that's right. We want to have an ecosystem of games, especially indie games. So you can imagine there's a lot of indie game developers around the world that are struggling to monetize their games through traditional Web 2 platforms with ads. And what we want to do is, help them on their journey to integrate blockchain by example. So we want to build some successful games that are integrated with blockchain, and then teach people how to do it, give them support, potentially have grants or bounties that could go to these indie game developers that want to integrate with blockchain as well. We definitely see it's a future of gaming. There's a lot of indie game developers out there that are sort of struggling doing it part-time. We want to try and make them successful as well. But I guess the important thing to do first is to build successful games as an example. Otherwise, it's going to be tough to get indie game developers to join the ecosystem. So, that's what we've started working on. Pretty much a year ago, pretty much to this day, I started building a game called Kinland. I was a big Kin, ecosystem fan. It's another currency that launched 3 years ago. It was one of the early projects, probably the 4th, to join Solana. So you can imagine how big the Solana ecosystem is now. It's 400 or 500 projects. But now, one of the early, single-digit projects to join Solana was Kin. So what I wanted to do was build a game using the Kin cryptocurrency, and start integrating NFTs as part of that to help with funding and development of the game, but then also use those NFTs as playable characters in the game.
Yeah, it's how I actually met John myself at Kinland was my research into Solana gaming, and I have got links. Just a reminder, there are plenty of links in the live channel. You can actually see some gameplay from the car part, the car racing, your latest one, John. That is actually Kinland as well, though, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. So basically, Kinland, we're aiming that towards kids, so all ages. So you can drive, or you can run around a 3D world and collect coins. It's similar to Mario Brothers, if anyone's played Mario as a kid. Quite a simple concept to start with, but yeah, what we're doing is slowly releasing level by level. We're expanding the different gameplay modes, so you could have sword fighting, punch kicking, just hand-to-hand combat. Trying to avoid having lots of weapons and anything to do with blood. It is all ages. And then, level 4 is just the latest level where we've built out a level that just launched live on PC today, and we'll update the Android App Store listing as well in the next week once they approve. But yeah, basically we've got a YouTube video that's in the live questions link channel, just showing some of the gameplay where you're driving around on highways, running over skeleton monsters, and then one of the aspects of that level is actually versing, PvE, or just versing the computer, racing around a racetrack. What we're going to do though is each level that we release, we come up with a slightly different gameplay, and then go back and then release those as mini games, so multiplayer mini games. So you can obviously see that you're driving around a racetrack similar to Mario Kart. What we'll then do is, improve on that gameplay and then release that as multiplayer. So then you'll have a bunch of mini games that you can play. The first two will be just simple Mario Kart gameplay. We'll have nitro boosters. We'll have ways to attack other players. I sort of demoed in the video I shared earlier today. Of you can ram people and crash into them as well.
Yeah, the PvP element of it. It was funny. I was watching you destroy the other car, and you did make sure you killed him good.
Yeah, but yeah, the whole point of that is to skill based. So win the race is what it's about, and then you obviously get a token or kin crypto sort of bonus when you finish that and win. So the more higher your ranking on the race leaderboard, the more kin you win for that. The other gameplay mode we've got in that level, if you keep playing it, is that derby mode. So it's on a dirt pit where you drive around and just purely smash into each other. So the winner gets some winnings out of that. So it's similar to Demolition Derby back in the day, if people have played that. And then we'll just come up with different multiplayer mini games. And a lot of this comes back to last year I sort of watched my kids playing Roblox. I'm giving my kids $15-20 a month to change their skins in a game, and obviously I'm a big follower of Solana. I'm Solana Australia Community Manager in Australia. I sort of saw Web3 principles coming, where you try and have play to earn gamers get a share of the value of games as they become successful. They get to keep NFTs, player skins in their own private wallet. So a lot of those principles of Web3 or blockchain, I wanted to apply to an all ages game. And that was sort of the driving force behind me getting into building a gaming ecosystem.
Yeah, it is. I do want to touch on the Solana Australia part of it. It's amazing what you do in the space. Um, you flew over to Lisbon and represented, Gamerplex there, and took a 6 week turnaround to get back to Perth. We were just chatting before the AMA started. Um, and on your way back to Perth, you actually stopped off in Sydney and had a live event there with over 150 people. So you're saying something like 160 people. So Australia is huge for Solana and crypto in general. I think we've got something like a 12% adoption rate here. We're very lucky. The government controls are terrible on crypto for us compared to places like America. So it is awesome to see that community built from the ground and from the people around. You've done live events in Perth as well, yeah?
Yeah, we've done a couple. I also presented at the Perth Crypto Summit in August last year as well, before traveling overseas. And yeah, there was about 600 people there as well. You can find that video on the blog, but basically, I sort of just talked about the Solana hackathon experience and building multiple projects and just trying to, yeah, see what is successful and see what fails. And that's basically the topic of the video and how I sort of got into blockchain gaming.
So ideally, there's a whole lot to go through, especially in even your last comment. See what succeeds, see what fails. You're building as like all these games are going to be on the one sort of setup and using one coin, and then hopefully one NFT. You can jump in between any of these games. So if a game isn't as popular, people will actually be able to, instead of playing Kinland, they might use it in contention instead.
Yeah, that's right. So there's a lot. What I'm finding, obviously, that's the vision, but the real challenge with cross-game NFTs is standardizing how do each game accept that NFT, potentially standardizing or coming up with a standard of a game NFT. So you can imagine probably the first one we're going to actually have playable across probably 3 games is we're looking to do a big Cybertruck drop where you can have playable cars that can move across each game. I guess if each game can accept that as an aesthetic, like does it match the game that it's going to be played in? Is there car driving, for example, in the game for starters? So yeah, if you tick that box, then you sort of move into, well, how does the game, use that 3D asset? Potentially what you could have is each game dev studio behind each game, accept that NFT series. So they might accept that Cybertruck series of cars, and then what they'd have to do is integrate it into their game. So there'd be an integration script to bring those assets into their game. Does it match the design of their game? Does it have to be modified slightly just to either increase the look of how many polygons the asset has? Does it match a high-end game that has high graphics, or is it just a low polygon game? Therefore, you want to have a low polygon asset. So what we're doing is testing that out and actually figuring out, well, how do we standardize the NFT? How can we get multiple games, not just ourselves, but externally in the future to support that Cybertruck? So what we'll do is start doing that internally with our games, and then eventually we can have these standardized NFTs that can go in and out of one game and go in and out of other games as part of that ecosystem. So it's pretty exciting. It is quite a challenge. I can see why it hasn't been prevalent in NFT gaming, blockchain gaming so far. Potentially 2D assets could move across quite easily, but when you start getting into 3D assets, it does become a challenge, and that's what we're trying to solve.
Yeah, so when you say Cybertruck, are we talking the car that you're using in your Cyber Wars to start off with?
Yeah, so we've got a game that we're currently building in Unreal Engine 4 called Cyber Wars. probably the easiest way to explain that is it's a cross between Cyberpunk and Terminator.
Yeah.
So it's in the year 2050. A bunch of humans are challenging the powers of the global elite, which are enforced by robots. And what we're doing is, we've got a playable Cybertruck in that game. What we're going to do is work with designers to rebuild that so it's playable across Contention and Kinland. So what you'll do is you'll be able to do the Kinland races with the Cybertruck, Kinland Derby mode as a Cybertruck, go to Contention, have a 3-minute deathmatch round where there's machine guns mounted on the side of the Cybertruck, and you sort of versus each other, kind of Mad Max style. And then back in Cyber Wars, you sort of use it as a future taxi service to get you from district to district.
Yeah, I've put the link for one of the Cyber War videos in the live channel. It's something that you guys actually took to Ignition, and that was your Ignition entry.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, we submitted that under Ignition.
So I like how it ties into the other games, and that you can find a way to be able to tie them in. And you're obviously finding a lot of problems. I guess let's go back to Kinland. Kinland, you said you've been building for over 12 months, and you're stuck with that, aren't you? You're stuck with the SDKs not being available. So you've got a new way now at the moment of testing SDKs. Is that right?
Yeah, so we're actually working with Solsry or Solcry to actually integrate their SDK that they're building. We're actually testing it right now. Basically, it's a wallet that supports NFTs and talks between Unity and Solana blockchain.
So is that allowing you to activate the kin token? Is that going to solve your problem for the SDK for your Kinland?
It'll solve the problem for NFT integration. It'll be open source as well. And what we're hoping is, they're already handling wallet integration to Solana, NFT integration into Solana. On their roadmap, they're going to also work with SPL tokens as well, which is, potentially could be kin in the future. So, what we're trying to do is, and this is what I've been doing for the past year as well, is develop games where the gameplay is actually fun and enjoyable, and then wait for, obviously push, but as the Solana ecosystem matures and develops, there'll be more and more of these open source SDKs, wallets available to integrate. And we also, as part of that Ignition hackathon, integrated with Stardust. So Cyber Wars has Stardust integration already, and Stardust is just a way to integrate through API for your game. Doesn't matter if it's Unreal or Unity, and you can sort of use their integration platform with no fees to mint NFTs and also destroy NFTs in game. So it's a pretty awesome platform to integrate with. And I've sort of, if you go to the homepage gamerplex.com, I've sort of got a games directory showing that this is the different tech stacks that we're testing. And as we continue to develop the games, you can sort of see how we've built them with the idea that other indie game developers can see this as well and start building as well. So potentially we'll build up a big games directory and start having more and more people join the ecosystem in terms of game developers, and then also build up a community of gamers that can play these games that support cross-game NFTs.
Yeah, and I mean, what's good to see, I had Soulcry when they in stage here at Grape as well. They came in, I warrant to guess, it's 6 weeks ago. It's hard to track time in crypto off top of your mind, but they've renamed to Cry for people that are looking for where that ties in, and they'll come up with an NFT launch, I think possibly after Christmas, New Year's, maybe January. And they did, they had that the SDKs for some of the coins at the time. And it's really super cool to see you guys pairing up with other projects. They're a French Tunisian team, and he was a really super cool guy. So what's you guys are building some of your platforms across Unity and you said UE4 for Cyber Wars. You've got that experience yourself, actually trying to test across multiple platforms.
And that's right. We've got Kinlan, which is Unity, Contention, and then we've got a new game coming out called Phoenix. They're all Unity, and probably the big thing around Phoenix, it's a melee fighter, so third person, and it's multiplayer only, and you basically have to master your weapon skill, and then run along walls, dodge and dash as you fight enemies. And what we're going to do is similar to Contention, which is just a shooter. We'll have Phoenix, which is a sword. It's probably the easiest way to explain it is Super Smash Brothers in third person, and that's what Phoenix is. So we'll be building that out, and probably the big one is having these multiplayer game tournaments. So running those in Discord each week. We'll try and have fun and exciting gameplay across different games, and then have different sessions where you have tournaments and giveaways. But yeah, going back to the original, there's 3 games using Unity. We've got Cyber Wars, which is Unreal Engine 4. We're actually already tested it in Unreal Engine 5. So we're going to try and, work on the District 1, which is the first little level that's in the prototype. Rebuild a lot of the assets so they work in UE5. And then, migrate to UE5 as soon as possible. I don't know if everyone's seen UE5 or Unreal Engine 5, but it's amazing graphics. If everyone can look at Matrix Awakens, maybe I'll drop it in the YouTube link in the chat. But it's getting to the point where game engines can generate photorealistic games, and it's just getting crazy where it's going.
Yeah, I mean,
we definitely want to support UE5.
Yeah, if you've tracked anything to do with Star Atlas, and I don't want to plug another game at the same time, but they were really good for that's where I found my sources of information regarding UE5, the trailers for it, and they talk about the pixels that they can create, and then the changes aren't also as resource hungry, which allows your computers to run them a lot better. I'll have to watch that Matrix one though, because I haven't seen it.
Posted it in.
Yeah, that's Tacky. Thank you, Tacky. It is amazing watching it, and that's going to be what, Q1 of next year they come live. Is that going to be the beta for UE5?
Yeah, so they're launching next year. They're already in early release 2. So you, as a developer, you can start using Unreal Engine 5. What we found though, personally we've got some API or plugin integrations on UE4 that just don't work on UE5 yet, because it's not a stable release. It doesn't have a lot of the plugins that you need to, say, talk to an API. So that's sort of what's holding us off moving fully into UE5. Waiting till that's fully released. Probably another one to note is they sort of Matrix partnered with Unreal Engine team, and they basically developed this playable game demo for the Matrix. And I've given my kids Xbox Series X for Christmas. I'm waiting 4 days for my kids to unwrap that, and then I can actually install the Matrix Awakens demo, which is available on Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5.
I saw a snippet. Yeah. I saw a snippet of the interview with how they were talking about NFTs, and they sort of asked him about NFTs, and then Keanu just started pissing himself laughing. People spending money on these things.
Yeah, it's a NFT blockchain gaming is very early, so you've got a lot of it's a transition period over the next couple of years as more and more people accept what Web3 is, how NFTs lock in value to original creators. there's a lot of, a lot of trolling, or a lot of people on the internet that hate blockchain gaming. They don't like NFTs. They don't like blockchain or crypto. It's really about slowly the whole blockchain gaming industry evolving, and the wider community of the world of game players, but also just people that invest in crypto in general, or financial instruments. Learning about crypto, how blockchain works, what Web3 is, how NFTs work, how blockchain gaming works. So we're very early, and it's definitely something I saw coming. I really wanted to get involved, and been building game projects ever since.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the sentiment there. We are super early in all forms of crypto gaming, and we need that barrier. It's a very steep learning curve at the moment to get into crypto gaming, and that's where we need the barrier we need to help as a community, and we try our best at Grape here to get people on stage and do our best towards educating people, and that's where a lot of it comes in. So you talk about Gamerplex building a gaming backing there of people coming in and testing games and stuff as well. So I know you've got a lot of beta testing options available for people that want to test games and help this progression. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, John?
Yeah, so probably the big one is we've recently released, literally in last 2 weeks, our Gamerplex game launcher. So we've built that for PC and Mac. So you can actually install a game launcher now for Gamerplex games, and within that you can install Kinland, Cyber Wars, and then soon we'll have Contention and Phoenix. And what we can do is actually just, as soon as we develop a feature, we test it and then push it out. And what we want to do is actually have the whole community be part of the process of playing the games and providing feedback early on. We do have a feedback form on our website, and we also currently have an OG NFT drop where there's 420 OG NFTs, which is my logo. It's a character logo of OG on it. And what we want to do is actually have a bunch of OG or game testers that are verified. They contribute to the gaming ecosystem we're building. They provide feedback, and eventually what we can do is reward them for their efforts. So in the future, for OG holders, we'll have future NFT drops, with some going to the OG holders. And what we're also doing is looking to release a token next year as well. So there may be surprises in people's wallets in the future next year.
Yes, I like that. It's a bit of alpha there for the stage. Pick up on that. Game testing, beta testing, it is kind of a thing that happens. And ultimately, they need us. They need us to test them and come up with these ideas and find out, things they might not have found themselves. So everybody's got a different thing they look at when they play a game. So people can just join the Discord, get those links, and start testing, yeah?
Yep. Yeah, that's right. And we're trying to push out updates for all the games as quick as possible. It's a continuous development. So people play the game, provide feedback, and we'll start working on it straight away. What we're hoping, and we haven't accepted any fundraising at this stage, but what we want to do is get really good quality playable indie games in the ecosystem. Have a community of committed gamers that help build the games up, and then have at that grassroots level a share of value as the company grows and all the gaming ecosystem grows.
So how have you gone with you do a lot of local live events and stuff, and you're very prominent throughout the community. Have you had any luck with warrant the word at poaching maybe, but getting local developers, game talent joining on board with you?
Yeah, so it's something that we've madly been typing up white papers, building game launches, trying to get all 4 games out the door into playable beta. I'm personally, and probably part of the Solana ecosystem has this sort of mentality of buildle. It's a bit of a joke, but build first, ask questions later. So get the product shipped, get it out the door so it's playable, and then start iterating on feedback. So we've been heads down, just focusing on getting the games built, getting the basics of our website and white paper published. We've got a marketplace with some of the NFTs on there, just a Metaplex fork. But we want to keep building a lot of the services we have currently and get into a good quality. And then, after that, we'll keep pushing forward to, potentially a token launch early next year.
Yeah, I mean, I've obviously got myself a couple of the Kinland characters. Anyone that's followed my sort of career knows I've tweeted about it a fair bit. I had a bit of fun with it a while back, and then, learned myself about the SDK and how you guys were sort of hamstrung. I'll just highlight, John did link in the live questions that there's the competition going on for those 420 NFTs. So there's a, competition, tick a few boxes, do some retweets, have a look at white papers, those kinds of things. And get a chance to earn that NFT. So definitely cool, man. I love the energy that I met John. We had a steak and beers in Perth and met a couple of other people from the Solana community, and it's definitely opened my eyes up to seeing things. There is a local Telegram group. You also do a blog for Solana as well, John.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a big believer in Solana for a while now. I started a blog called Solana.blog, and been following it ever since. I've participated in a lot of Solana hackathons, tried my hand at DeFi. Probably it isn't a big passion for me, but what I sort of discovered after trying and failing is, I do love building games. And building that future of gaming, which is, in my eyes, Web3 and based on blockchain. It's going to take a while for the whole world to realize that blockchain is a potential path of games in the gaming industry in the future. We're pretty early, and it's just great to be in the industry.
Yeah, it definitely will take time. We need that big immersive game that's actually super cool to play. And also the NFT flipping market, I think, is still one of the things that has actually hurt the actual proper building of games. It's kind of definitely now and coming into the first quarter of next year has definitely been, I think, more problematic than beneficial to it. But
it's definitely do you want me to?
You keep going.
Talk about that topic. The blockchain gaming cops a lot of flack from traditional gamers if you sell NFTs that could potentially give you a benefit over someone else that doesn't have that NFT, and it sort of goes into that pay to win issue where and this happens on Roblox as well, so it's not related just to blockchain gaming, but there's a lot of Roblox games where people just buy all the power-ups, all the cool things in the game, and then they run around with like a level 100 sword and just kill everyone, and that's the end of it. So believe it or not, it isn't just a pay to win, isn't just blockchain gaming. So that's something I'm really careful about. I don't want pay to win to happen in the games. So early on, we'll be focusing just on skins. We'll be focusing on, potentially in Phoenix having different weapon skins or outfits for players. We'll have different animations for the sword striking, and if you say die, so wipeout animations, different emotes or dances, taunts that you can actually buy. But I'm really being careful to balance that. Someone just can't buy everything and then just pay to win their way through and beat everyone in multiplayer tournaments. So you have to put a lot of thought into it, and I'm sure we'll make the mistake as well when we get through to integrating that, but hoping that the community provides that good constructive feedback and we can, fix it and make it better. But yeah, it is it's probably related to what you said about NFT flipping and people sort of going in and just buying NFTs for potentially profit or performance improvements in a game. There is a sort of a nastier side to that you want to try and avoid.
But yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And as for the pay to win, I mean, pay to win's been around since the dawn of gaming. Like I remember World of Warcraft. I couldn't farm 100 gold to get my mount, so you bought it. It was easier for me to buy gold back in the day than farm that amount. So then that allowed you to get a mount to then go and farm more gold. So there's money in gaming. It's always going to be there, and it's always going to lead into a fact where it might give you a benefit, unless, of course, they are, like you're saying, just skins only. And I think there's a balancing act that every game's going to have to balance themselves, because it might be a chance that you earn more in-game income. For example, you might get a 5% boost earning whatever coin is in the game. That then allows you to buy more items in the game. So, in effect, is that pay to win?
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of different business models to test out, and we'll certainly be doing that. One of the ones that we're pretty excited about is releasing a bunch of playable car skins. So you can have different cars that you can play in the different games. But when you're not playing the game, you can park it in a garage and then start earning value out of that car that's parked, and potentially giving it to another, or leasing it out to another player that can use that car if it is something that they don't have.
I like the utility cool behind that. So renting out the actual car parts out of your car in the game. So if someone needs a new carby, they rent yours off you.
Yeah, I mean, they could rent the whole car as well. So there's a lot of, it's pretty much infinite what you can do in the metaverse, especially when it's cross game. Every game's going to be slightly different ways and dynamics around the NFT and how it's played. And same for the token, how the token's used in each game. But yeah, we'll certainly be, trying to plan it out in a fair way, and then testing it out with the community that play as well.
So Kinland's obviously delayed for the SDK. You've got the game testing happening with Cry for the NFTs. Your other two games, Cyber Wars, you've talked about that having Stardust integration already. Contention, that's going to be built Unity. That's a first-person shooter and playable on mobile phone. Is that right? Is that the first one it's coming out with?
Yeah, so we'll probably integrate with Stardust as well for Contention. Basically we want to have different death matches where as you win, you earn more NFT drops. And yeah, like I said, potentially it's just aesthetic, new skins or new effects that can go around the player, and they'll be totally based in Stardust. Probably one for Stardust is they're releasing a marketplace in the future to actually everything you collect in these games, where you're grinding through and collecting things, you can sort of sell in a marketplace externally as well. So there would be a dynamic in the future where you can actually take things out of that game and sell on the marketplace. With Kinland, we really want to integrate with Solana directly and just use the open source primitives like Metaplex and traditional NFT standards on Solana to integrate those into the game. And what we're doing is testing and proving different ways to integrate with Solana blockchain and across different games, and then just showing other indie game developers how to do it, and eventually have a bigger enough ecosystem, potentially a token raise, and then having enough resources to help other indie game devs quickly integrate with Solana and just get going.
So when you're saying a big enough ecosystem, is there chances that you may look to join other ecosystems that are building? So obviously there's lots and lots of metaverses that, you know, it's a very open term at the moment, lots building across Solana specifically. And, you know, the world is more than just the Solana blockchain. We've got Ethereum and Binance and all of that. But are you looking at possibly joining up with other pre-building metaverses?
Yeah, I mean, even Stardust as well, they integrate with Polygon. So, you know, potentially if there's ways to integrate with other blockchains through, you know, Solana Wormhole in the future, it's just about having enough resources, developers to be able to build to that and integrate it. Right. So, you know, last time I checked with Stardust, you can already talk to Solana, Polygon, and Immutable. So there's certainly a lot of players in the blockchain gaming space connecting through wormholes or through other platforms to have cross-chain games that abilities for other you know, supporters of other blockchains be able to play this game and get their assets out and things. In terms of integrating with other games built on other blockchains, that's probably another story. That's a whole heap of integration work that has to be done. But as the ecosystem evolves, a lot of the open source SDKs become more, you know, a lot more feature sets are built in, and you'd be able to do that in the future, definitely.
Yeah, it's funny because we see a lot of these metaverse that are building locally on Solana, as well as the majority of the projects on them are just the NFT projects. They're trying to find some kind of utility and pairing up with something that can give their own holders extra utility. So do you plan to onboard potentially NFT projects to get them in, or is it more sticking with your indie developer games?
Yeah, so I sort of said at the start that the strategy was to build a few successful games, sort of demonstrate what we can do in our ecosystem, and then open it up. I think the main focus is to get the games, you know, have great gameplay, integrate with NFTs, integrate with a token, and then in the future, you know, expand that out and build a bigger ecosystem. I'm definitely keen to do that. It's just that you'd probably
want to have something ready to go.
Team. Yeah. We want to demonstrate that we've got games built and they're working and they're great gameplay. And then what we'll do is build up our resources to be able to expand after that, to support other games, help promote or launch other games. You know, include them in a bigger game directory. If you think about just gamers in general that aren't exposed to blockchain, they'd have no idea how to get all the way through to find a blockchain game. So you know, we want to build up a big ecosystem that sort of makes it easy for gamers worldwide to just install an app and hit the play button. And then, you know, some games don't need a wallet. It gets created automatically in the back end, like Stardust. Other games you have to integrate or create a Solana wallet and save your private key. And then you can buy things and send it into the wallet. So, you know, there's definitely pros and cons of both ways of doing it. I mean, the main thing is to make it easy for gamers to be able to be a part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and what I like of what you said earlier as well is that you plan on having that one coin to be able to use across the multitude of games. And traditional gamers are going to be too confused to want to have to do multiple coins and multiple things, and you've got to get USDC and swap that into Solana, and then you've also got to buy other game coins and NFTs, and they just want to play games. You know, they want to log in, play a game for an hour, and not spend 15 hours trying to work it out, and then be sure that they've got it correct. And yeah, it's a big learning curve, isn't it?
Yeah, that's just how early we are into blockchain gaming. It's, you know, first it was scalability issues after people learn how to deal with private keys and creating wallets. Then it was, you know, I like to think we've solved the scalability issues with Solana, but now they've still got similar issues on initial account creation, onboarding. But a lot of these things will be smoothed over and fixed as the ecosystem develops.
So out of your 3 games that you've launched, I haven't seen too much information on Phoenix. I've got the Twitter there, but it is super early for Phoenix. Which is your favourite, John? What are you happiest with the most? You said that Kinland's a bit more for the kids, and I'd kind of agree with that. I bought 2 for my kids at home here because I think they'll have an absolute ball with it. But if that leaves you down to Contention and Cyber Wars, what are you preferencing?
I like to think Phoenix is really exciting gameplay. It's sword combat multiplayer. A lot of.
Have you got a snippet you can share with us for that?
I did put a release probably 3 videos ago on the YouTube, or maybe 2. There is just really basic. We're using stock characters and just working on the gameplay dynamics of sword fighting and running at speed. Sort of parkour, running along walls, jumping off walls. I've put a leak on that. We didn't even we just focused on building games. So we had gameplay to start with. We actually called it something else, just as an idea. And then we sort of rebranded to Phoenix. Basically you can sort of see how the combat works between each player that joins, and then there'll be a red team, blue team that fight against each other, and then win the tournament.
Oh, I've just linked it in live.
Build different modes.
Yeah, so is that going to be a multiplayer game then, just more than 1v1?
Yeah, that is multiplayer, and it will have teams as well. So each match, there's green versus blue, but that could be clans, and we're actually looking at having clans as well as part of the Gamerplex ecosystem that sort of join in each tournaments where we have giveaways, and they can join a clan and at least have a group of different games that we can have. So off the bat would be Phoenix and Contention, where you sort of battle each other and take some winnings.
Yeah, I'd love to help with that. I'd love to be able to host something here at Grape. Put up a team. I've put the trailer in the sneak peek in the live questions. It looks interesting. And by multiplayer, sorry, I did mean teams. That was, you answered that perfectly. So, are there any questions coming in from the crowd? We've got a fairly big one here at the moment. We've got 40 at the moment. I didn't leak any prizes or anything like that, but I've always got some special coins. I've got some coins in the Solana gaming wallet ready to go. If we have some people coming from the crowd. So normally we open it up for C-class members, but I'm happy if there's anyone here with that has a decent question. Like Gamerplex is there to build games, there to get people into their Discord involved, testing these games. And I've been happy testing games. It's been one of the most exciting periods of this year for me, is testing these games. Well, we've got old Gundiver. We'll bring him up on stage. You'll have a green bar across the center of your screen. Just click on the accept. Can be hard to see sometimes on a mobile phone if you're on a mobile.
Hey, can you hear me all right?
Yeah, man, loud and clear.
Yep.
You got a question for John?
Yeah, I was just wondering, where you get your motivation for your different games. It seemed to me one of your games looks similar to an old RPG game I used to play, Shadowrun. Is that where do you get your the inspiration for your game?
Yeah, so I'll sort of mention Kinland. My kids were playing Roblox, and a lot of the value extraction comes out of, goes to Roblox, the core platform there. So that inspiration for Kinland sort of came from Roblox and building a low poly game that can scale across thousands of mobile phones really easily, or old phones, new phones.
Yeah.
And that's why we're sort of keeping it low poly. We've got it to a prototype, and we'll go back and we've hired a couple of designers 3D asset creators to go back and improve some of the design and assets in that game. When we're prototyping, we typically use marketplace assets, templates to just get something up and running, and then we start working on gameplay and building an original game, and then we go back and redesign. Potentially we even change the names of some of the games. We go back and improve some of the graphics of the games. But yeah, in terms of just inspiration for games, literally, I love working with indie game devs. I'll meet them all the time and try and see if they're keen to build things on blockchain. Some might hate blockchain and not want to build. Some might be looking for work and they want to join the Gamerplex. And certainly that's happened in the past. And a lot of that inspiration comes out of the game devs that have built games in the past but couldn't launch it. And we're definitely here to help them do that. Other games, in terms of ones I've come up with the concepts for, I used to love Counter-Strike many years ago. I used to love Quake 2, Quake 3, Doom. I'm showing my age, but loved a lot of the old school games, and really wanted one of those games to utilize blockchain and have an ability to collect NFTs in the game. So started building contention based off that.
Yeah.
In terms of, is there a specific one that you're referring to?
I did notice your contention game looked very much like the dust map, the screenshot of it that I saw. I just thought it must be quite hard to create like a new idea or new game. So many of the existing games that are out are already tapped into, I guess, releases that have been around for a long time, like Battlefield, WoW. These sort of things have been around for a long time, and a lot of games that have spun off from that kind of, that universe has been there for a long time. For you to make a new one must be quite challenging.
Yeah, that's what indie gaming is. It's normally it's there's a team or a group of people that want to build one game crossed with another game, and they think that's unique. It's something that's gameplay that hasn't been done before quite in the way they see it. And what the beauty is of indie gaming is they just go off and build it. They'll work weekends, they'll have a day job and just hack something up and then start building part-time on the side this indie game. And a lot of the indie games hit a niche. It's a unique gameplay style. It's not quite like some of the other big games out there. It's not designed to be a AAA game that takes over the world or gets across every billboard in every city in the world. They're trying to hit a small niche, and it's a unique style of game. And I think that's the beauty of indie games, and it's almost like democratizing gaming, and blockchain does that as well for people through banking and DeFi products. Indie gaming is quite unique. There's a lot of creative people out there in the world that don't have a way to make it their full-time job to build games, and definitely keen to build an ecosystem that helps and supports them.
So
you did mention before that there were some people, developers that you deal with that didn't really like the blockchain idea. Is there still a bit of like a segment within the gaming developing community that is not on board with blockchain gaming?
Absolutely. I mean, if you I forgot the game title, but there was a game 2 days ago that announced they were going to support NFTs, and then they got so much criticism that they reversed that decision and
Rushdown Revolt.
Yeah. So they basically announced it, and then they had to revert the call, and
That's because they're on.
and then that's based off criticism, public criticism. So it's definitely real. I guess from our perspective, we're coming from a crypto community that's building games, not a major, tier 1 game developer releasing a blockchain game when they've previously released 10 non-blockchain games in the past. So you can sort of see that existing community that aren't supportive of crypto or NFTs. That is definitely real. And just have a look at Rushdown Revolt and the news around that.
Yeah, they were big. They really took a dump on the community as well. They got second in Ignition as well. So they took up a prize and then turned around and said, "Oh no, we're not going to go on blockchain." But that's because they're also launching on Steam, and Steam has said no NFTs, no crypto is going to be allowed on Steam.
Yeah, just to correct myself as well, Stalker 2 is the game that recently announced they'll support NFTs, and then they copped so much criticism that they reversed that decision. So yeah, Stalker 2.
Yeah, it's hard, especially if they launch things or get money off people, get them excited, but that's part of it. So I think, Gundiver, do you mean Cyber Wars has like a Shadowrun type feeling to it? Or I think Shadowrun would be the RPG game you're thinking of from like the early 90s, yeah? Mid-90s?
Yeah, that was one.
So there is a lot of. I definitely see it when you look at the pictures, and I've seen the gameplay. Did you used to be a nerd that used to sit in the classroom in year 8, John, playing Dungeons and Dragons and role playing games?
I sort of got involved during Doom. I even, probably in high school, playing Doom, Wolfenstein, Quake. They're all the big ones for me.
So have we got any Kinland characters that are coming out with the T-shirt IDDQD?
No, we can certainly do that. We're actually trying to release small NFT drops for Kinland, and a lot of those are just custom character skins that we're working on. We're actually trying to release some for Christmas. Potentially, we're going to have some Christmas characters dropping soon, and then potentially some Christmas themed cards as well, dropping before Christmas.
Yeah, I got my Brocky.
I am a big fan of Easter eggs as well, so I will try and integrate some Easter eggs into game that you'd be like, why the hell did I get this NFT? And then you figure out you can use it in another game. So big fan of that. I think that'll be a fun way to just play with people.
It's awesome too on Solana where you can do that because it's cheap. It's got those cheap transactions. It doesn't cost you an arm and a leg to make NFTs and send them out. So it is, I love it. You're seeing a lot of games at the moment doing additional NFT drops for owning NFTs within them. That's awesome. Cheers for that. Gundiver, did you have any more questions?
No, mate. I'll pass it on to the next person that wants to talk.
Ellie's had his hand up. I did accept, and he's taking his hand down now. So, John, we've come close to our hour now. We never hit everything. I mean, you're building. You've got 3 to 4 games coming now, going for a lot. I love it. Is there anything you'd like to highlight before we wrap up for the night?
Yeah, like I said, we've got some free OG NFTs. So you just have to fill in a form, follow retweets, have a look at, download the launcher, some basic steps, like you said, and you can go into a prize draw to win. On Christmas Day, we'll start sending out OG NFTs for Gamerplex. And like I said, in the future, any OG NFT holder would be entitled to, special access to channels on the Discord, future NFT drops, and potentially tokens in the future.
And gameplay testing. You can actually get out there and test stuff.
Yeah, you're pretty early in terms of our ecosystem we're building, and really keen for the community to get involved and be rewarded in the future. So.
That's awesome, man. I definitely appreciate you coming back. This is the second time we've had you on stage, and I'll definitely get you back next year at some stage and see where we're at. Hopefully it's going to be with a game where we're sitting at the opposite sides of the table. I love the designers had a bit of fun creating the flyer for this one with the old Barndog in the pictures.
Yeah, that's your innovation, mate. It's awesome. We actually joked about this. Like, we could create a Barndog NFT that sort of runs around and tries to shoot you as well. So, just maybe it's a tutorial, single player mode, just to learn how the game works, and you end up shooting Barndog. So, it's definitely something I'm keen to do.
I think if you ask some of the boys, they'll have some one-liners for you that they can be yelling as they're running around shooting after you.
Yeah, we'll try and get some quotes that that don't get us banned off every all the swear words. Try and get some good quotes from you.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? I've got a bit of a potty mouth on me. That's how I fit into decentralized land. It's awesome being able to actually swear in crypto and the world of it. But yeah, definitely, I think there's a few lads in here that can give you some one-liners. But yeah, it is cool, man. I can't wait for the games. I didn't get a chance to have a look at the website. I'm not going to bullshit about it. It's super busy. Everyone's so busy. I don't know how you find the time to build so many gaming projects, though. So you must have quite a decent list of designers behind you. Developers.
Yeah, we're quite a small team. There's only 4 of us, so myself and then 3 game devs working full time. We only recently started getting designers in. We did try and get our prototype concepts out the door using templates, but now we're sort of going back and working with designers to rebuild some of the assets and improve them. We've got a small marketing team as well, community managers and a marketer. We've got a couple of advisors as well. We're definitely keen to grow. I'm keen to get products out the door that work and have good gameplay, and then after that, really, do some extra marketing to grow the ecosystem and the games. But yeah, we were quite a small team. Previously, you've had some game devs that have 30, 40 people in their team. We've only got 4 full time, and then probably another 14 part time people. So it's definitely grassroots at the moment, and yeah, really keen to reward people that contribute. We've got a feedback form as well. It's probably another one just at the top of the website. You play the game, provide some feedback. How can we improve? And potentially, we'll reward you for your efforts as well. So you don't have to be a game developer to help build. Just play the game or come up with ideas to improve marketing. Barndog yourself have that suggestion of different comments that you make and your avatar that runs around in tutorial mode for contention. That's something that you could put into the feedback form on our website, and we'll definitely work through that. So
that's awesome, dude. I love it. I like the energy behind it. As an indie team, small, but you are building and you want to get those products out. I like even what you said before about building the game. Kinland is the lower pixel game, but you're going to be able to use that across any device. You don't need to have a high-end phone, and you want it to be an actual fun game. You want to have the PvP element where you can be ramming other cars and getting them, but the game can still work. Concentrate on getting a good playable game out first, and you can improve the graphics, get the people playing the game.
Yep. No, that's exactly right. Part of that is the Solana ecosystem's quite early, and a lot of the SDKs aren't fully fleshed out. So yeah, we're just focused on building good games and then good indie game titles, and then scaling them up. And we'd want to follow that formula and help other indie game devs as well in the future.
Awesome. So just as a wrap up, guys, remember there are plenty of links to be able to go in there, fill out forms, have a chance to get the OG drops, testing gameplays. I've got the links for the Discords and all of that, the Twitters. 4 games being built. I think that's awesome, especially seeing as one OG NFT is likely going to be able to get you a chance to play a whole variety of games. So put in a little bit of effort, and you may get that great reward. So I appreciate, John, you coming on stage, as I said. And just as another reminder, I've got 2 more AMAs for the week. Solana come to stage tomorrow again for a second time, and we've got Rumble Worlds back the following day. So yeah, any final comments there, John?
I love what you've done building up Solana gaming space, Barndog, over the last year. Just the fact that you've got 10 AMAs in a week, it's just incredible. So yeah, keep up the great work. Yeah,
it's what's funny is we've got the games they're just breaching to come out, and it's exciting. I'm here for the games. I'm a traditional gamer. I'm not as stressed about flipping this stuff. It's super cool and super awesome to have developers like yourself coming on stage, and even for a second time. So I mean, I appreciate that, but I can kind of, if you're prepared to come back a second time, I mustn't have been that bad the first, is what I love. And to have a bit of fun, especially in the local community. I can't wait to fly back to Perth and potentially catch up for another round.
Yeah, and same for myself. Keen to fly around, also delivering Solana community events. So yeah, if I'm in Queensland or your way, I'll definitely hit you up.